In this world, the future is up for grabs, and the only rule is, there are no rules. So grab your shades, jack into the grid, and get ready for the ride of your life. Welcome to Cyberpunk.
The term cyberpunk was first used in the early 1980s. It emerged from a combination of cybernetics, which refers to the study of communication and control systems in living organisms and machines, and punk, which was a cultural movement associated with rebellion, anti-establishment attitudes, and DIY ethos. The term gained prominence with the release of the science fiction novel Neuromancer by William Gibson in 1984. Gibson's novel, along with other works such as Bruce Sterling's Mirror Shades, the Cyberpunk anthology in 1986, helped popularize the genre and solidify the term cyberpunk to describe a specific subgenre of science fiction. Cyberpunk literature typically features high-tech dystopian futures where advanced technology coexists with societal decay, corporate dominance, and underground countercultures, and it's all cool and awesome and rebellious and revolutionary. And since then, cyberpunk has expanded beyond literature even to encompass films, video games, comics, and other forms of media. It became a significant cultural phenomenon with a lasting influence on pop culture. Cyberpunk, as a genre of speculative fiction, is influenced by a variety of philosophical, social, and technological schools of thought. For example, it often reflects postmodern themes such as skepticism towards grand narratives, the blurring of boundaries between reality and simulation, and even the fragmentation of identity. Also, we can find existentialist themes such as individual freedom, alienation, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. And they're all prevalent in cyberpunk literature. Characters often grapple with questions of identity and agency in the face of powerful societal forces and technological advancements. Hear me out for a second. What interests me the most is how cyberpunk is related to transhumanism, advocating for using technology to transcend the limitations of human biology and achieve new levels of cognitive and physical abilities. Cyberpunk is a multidisciplinary genre. It synthesizes ideas from various schools of thought to create a vision of a futuristic world. Now, if we, for example, merge transhumanism with a dystopian futurism, we'll get a cyber character. Now let's add a touch of existentialism and we'll get an anxious cyber character. And now, let's put this character in a postmodern world. Voila! Here's a cyberpunk character. Well, the punk aspect of cyberpunk is derived from the punk subculture that emerged in the 1970s, particularly in the United Kingdom and the United States. The punk movement was characterized by its anti-establishment attitudes, DIY ethos, rejection of mainstream culture, and embrace of individual freedom and expression. This ethos of rebellion and nonconformity is reflected in cyberpunk literature, art, and culture in several ways: anti-authoritarianism, subversive themes, DIY aesthetics, I want to discuss something with you, and I think it's worth it. While constructivism as a learning theory and architectural constructivism as a movement differ in their origins and intentions, they share a focus on design and form. They both require a certain type of prior knowledge, social interactions, and even active engagement. But one thing will lead us directly to cyberpunk movement. Constructivist learning theory employs the concept of scaffolding, where learners are provided with support and guidance to help them build understanding. In cultural design, this concept can be applied through the use of spatial hierarchy, wayfinding cues, and environmental cues. They guide the user through a space and support their navigation and exploration. And by the way, when we say scaffolding in this context, we do not mean teachers, instructors, and students. For the sole reason that in a dystopian futuristic society, people are usually either filled with ideologies or with fear. They're afraid. The system is harsh. The system is a dictatorship. It's another kind of dictatorship. It's a corporate dictatorship, and it's the worst kind of capitalism. But scaffolding in this context refers to the underground resistance regime. This regime leads a character to navigate the complex environments, psychological hardships, and even technological miracles of a cyberpunk society. And thus, the punk in cyberpunk needs a bit of guidance, specifically from data that was made because of this cyber system. I mean, postmodern societies are fragile and weak, we all know that, because they lack a concrete base. But the only thing keeping them alive is the fact that destroying a postmodern society is way harder and less efficient than fixing it and accepting its weaknesses. And while cyberpunk theory of humanity is cool and awesome and very rebellion, it also refers to the last level in the upgrade. It is where our limits will reach an end. I mean, you know what scares me the most about this cyberpunk future? It is how centralized will it be?